All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We are super excited to share with you the wonderful SAC committee. And I've personally loved my SAC experience, so I'm so excited to share with you what we've been working on. We're going to go through some of our projects and explain why we love doing what we do. All right.
Thanks, Logan. And before we get into all the projects, I just want to do some quick logistics for our webinar today. Even though we are in webinar format, there's going to be lots of opportunities where we want you to interact with one another. So we encourage you obviously to stay on mute, but then we want to hear from you in the chat. So as you see, Katie put a chat prompt in there and also just leverage the opportunity to chat with one another through that chat function. We will also have a Q&A at the end. I know this is a fast-paced 60-minute discussion, so we might not be able to answer all your questions in real time, but we will host a small session at the end for your Q&A. So be prepared with any questions you might have that we might be able to answer for you then. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it on to introductions to Logan.
All right. So we're going to do a quick round of introductions and then start with an icebreaker that we will each share and then give you an opportunity to share in the chat as well. So hi, everyone. I'm Logan Christopher, and I'm a member of Student Advisory Council for 2023 to 2024 school year, and I also will be a member next year. And I'm a junior in high school and from Los Angeles. Our icebreaker question is, what would you want to do after you retire? So this can be a part-time job you want to have after your full-time job, or a hobby you would want to take up, anything of that sort, just for fun. So my answer, which I would honestly do now too, but since I don't have the time, I would want to work at Trader Joe's as a cashier or in the store, however that would work, because I feel like they're always such nice people, and I'd love to have conversations about the food. I love Trader Joe's food, so that would be super fun for me, and I'll pass it on to Katie.
Hello, everybody. I'm Katie Sue, and I'm a junior at the Chapin School in New York City. And after I retire, along the same vein of Logan, I want to be a food connoisseur, particularly reviewing pasta, as I currently have a pasta rating Instagram account, and then also rating Trader Joe's snacks. So Logan and I can work together.
Hi everyone, my name is Bryn O'Hare, and I'm a sophomore at the Culver Academies in Culver, Indiana. I would, after I retire, love to travel the world and fulfill my goal of visiting every country.
Hi, my name is Janie Smith. I am a senior at the Morris County School of Technology in New Jersey. When I retire, I was actually talking with one of my best friends today of like what kind of we would want to do. And we both like working with customers and things. So I would want to work in some sort of retail, preferably shoes, since I love that. It's like a little side passion of mine, but so something that's working with customers and yeah, just making people happy.
I love that, everyone. And hello, my name is Kimberly Cawkwell. I am the Director of Programs, and also I am fortunate to get to be a witness and a supporter of these incredible students you see here at the Student Advisory Council. And for me, I love children's books. So after I retire from this role, I'd love to volunteer at our local public library. So if you'd like to, you can also take a moment to share more about yourself. Katie will drop that in the chat, and feel free to, respond to one another in there. So let's get started. Before we share all the ways in which our incredible students on our council have leveraged their voices to improve the student experience, I want to take a moment to center the mission and values of Challenge Success. So at Challenge Success, we believe that every K-12 student deserves a holistic education that centers connection, growth, balance, and meaningful learning. And we know from the research of over 375,000 responses to our survey, and many more coming, that many students struggle with their well-being, engagement, and sense of belonging in school. And these struggles are especially acute for historically marginalized students whose identity, culture, and socioeconomic status has resulted in barriers to access and success. So in order to live into this holistic education that as I described, we believe the greatest impact for students happens when we center the student experience, when we co-design with all community members and implement research-based, equity-centered policies and practices. And I want to take a moment to pass the mic to Logan to share more around why centering the student experience is so valuable. Logan?
Yeah, thank you, Kim. So there are plenty of reasons why student voice matters so much. And I actually recently came across an article by the founder of the Student Advisory Council here at Challenge Success. And there was a quote that really stuck with me, which was, if we want to identify the root causes of stress and disengagement for young people, if we really want to know about the student experience, we have to hear it from the student themselves. And this is super important because the only way to make sure that your solutions are actually going to make change and truly benefit the right people is to get your audience involved. Companies do this all the time by listening to their consumers. And it's a great way to really make change and help get your voice heard. Student Advisory Council was started to bring that student perspective into all the projects that Challenge Success has been working on. And during our meetings as SAC members, we actually have been able to look at a lot of the current Challenge Success projects and add our input into them in order to make them as understandable and engaging for students. For the reasons on the doc, it's super important to better inform change efforts. And you can do this especially if you hear from who is being affected firsthand. There are many ways that schools can learn about the student perspective. In this day and age, it's so easy to use surveys to collect data from students themselves. There are other options like fishbowls or listening in protocols. At my school, for example, students are given the opportunities to sit in on board meetings and add their perspective into scheduling or intervention periods, anything of that sort. Students could also have their opportunities to increase the collaboration in groups on their campuses. Students really want to help make this change in schools. And so by listening and taking their opinions and ideas into account, we can really make this change grow and impact as many people as possible. And I think Challenge Success does a great job of this. And I'll pass it on to Janie to give us an introduction of the Student Advisory Council.
Hi, thank you, Logan. So what is the Student Advisory Council? We are a 12-member group that works with Challenge Success, as well as collaborating with each other to come up with challenges and ultimately solutions that will help student well-being, belonging, and engagement within the academic space. We meet about once a month, and during those meetings, we kind of talk and collaborate and find different projects or topics that we're passionate and want to pursue more in depth. And so you'll hear a little bit later on about some of the projects we've done and what's coming. And it's really nice because we've all gotten to kind of pick our own things. And once we kind of find out what speaks to us, we tend to go into smaller groups and collaborate within those groups to really make something that we hope speaks to everyone. And overall, I have been a member of SAC for about 2 years now, and it's just been an incredible experience. We have Kim, who's just amazing and is always welcoming, and she's always there for us, which just makes it that much better. And I'm really just honored to be advocating here today to tell you a little bit more about it. But I will pass it back to Logan to give you a little bit more.
So as part of our wonderful SAC projects, I was able to reach out to Kim and pitch the idea of making a video that would introduce our wonderful members for this school year. So here is the video. Enjoy.
Hi, my name is Lila Raj, and I'm a sophomore from San Francisco.
I'm Katie Sue, and I'm in 11th grade at the Chapin School in New York City.
My name is Janie Smith, and I live in New Jersey, and I am a senior in high school.
My name is Bauer. I'm a junior from Los Angeles, California.
My name is Jackie Vandermel. I'm a freshman in college, and I am from New Jersey.
My name is Bryn O'Hare, and I'm in 10th grade. I'm originally from Chicago, but right now I go to school in Northern Indiana.
I'm Alex Liu, and I am a junior at Christian Brothers High School in Sacramento, California.
My name is Dia Malik, and I am an 11th grader at Beckman High School in Irvine, California.
I'm Logan Christopher, and I'm a junior from Los Angeles, California.
One word that I would use to describe the Student Advisory Council is passion.
An enthusiastic community.
Creative.
Collaborative.
Inclusive. Powerful.
Innovative.
I joined the Student Advisory Council because I saw a lot of social issues and mental health issues in my student community and wanted to take a bigger and more active role in representing them and working towards solutions.
I chose to apply to SAC because I'm really interested in destigmatizing mental health, especially for students and teenagers, and having such a student-led environment like SAC with so many other people who are passionate about the same things that I am is such a great way to work towards those goals, both for our schools and communities and also just ourselves.
I knew I wanted to be part of SAC when I met Kim, who is an extremely generous, understanding, and an incredibly supportive leader for our council. To work with her and the other students has really been a privilege.
My favorite part of being on SAC is that each and every member is very passionate about their specific interests, and through SAC we can pursue them in unique ways that build community well-being.
My favorite part about being on SAC is that each member brings their own unique skills and interests to the projects we are so passionate about in order to benefit students around the country.
My favorite part about the committee is not only the amazing people that I've met online, virtually, and some in person, but also the fact that we are able to help so many students go through problems that all of us face with mental health and improving in the classroom and all those things that we just get to help out, and it's so nice.
One of my favorite parts about being on the Student Advisory Council is not only collaborating with fellow peers to help come up with solutions and to work on problems happening within schools today, but also being able to mentor students in trying to find their voices.
From being on SAC, I've learned that advocacy can take so many different forms, whether it's creating a blog or a podcast. There's really no wrong way to be an advocate for yourself or for others.
One thing I've learned from the Student Advisory Council is that you need a variety of perspectives to truly understand and solve an issue, and you can have a lot of fun in the process.
One thing I learned while being on the Student Advisory Council is that there are so many other like-minded individuals who are passionate about so many things.
We would love to have you join SAC. Just be your authentic self and let us know what interests you. Not only is SAC open to different ideas, but Kim and all of the other members have been awesome about helping us make our visions become reality.
One piece of advice I would give to future SAC members is that change starts with conversation. That was a quote I heard during my first Challenge Success conference that has stuck with me ever since. From then, I knew that I needed to be the voice to start the conversation so that I could advocate for not only my friends and fellow peers, but for everybody, to create change within the academic space.
One piece of advice I would tell students applying is to pinpoint the specific areas that you're really interested in working on when it comes to problems in educational systems and schools, and also make sure to back those problems up with potential solutions that you see. There's really major opportunities to implement the different ideas that you have, and your voice is definitely heard.
My advice for students who are applying for SAC this coming year is to just be yourself and don't stress too much, because the whole goal of Challenge Success is to promote student mental wellness and just not stress over everything, and I think that should definitely apply to the SAC application process as well. We'd love to have you join our team for next school year.
So we hope to hear from you.
All right. So to move on from that, our project. So during our monthly meetings, we are given the opportunity to split into breakout rooms and each work on different projects that relate to our specific interests and how we want to spread information about student well-being and engagement. And so here are a few examples of the different projects we have been working on, and we have a few members of the Student Advisory Council to talk about each of them.
Hi everyone, I'm Bryn, and as Logan mentioned, we have our breakout groups. So over the past few months, I was lucky enough to work with the blog group to really work on some amazing content. A little bit about my own work. I come from a background where I'm very familiar with classroom accommodations and student advocacy, and I really wanted to write about this. So this is what my most recent article is about. We go through the whole editing and writing process, which is really great because we really get to refine our work and make it the best it can be. Some of the other upcoming blogs we have are Stress-Free Success, a practical student's guide, Building Healthy Study Habits for Long-Term Well-Being, and From Icebergs to Classrooms, Recognizing the Need for Personalized Learning. A lot of us are drawing from our own personal experiences, and if you're thinking about joining SAC, we really love to have people of all types of diverse backgrounds bring their stories, and the blog is a great example of this. And we've linked them in the chat below.
Thank you, Bryn. So the blog group has worked really hard on their content over the past few months. So I hope you guys get a chance to check them out on their website. I just put in the chat because they're all really well done. And another group in the Student Advisory Council is the podcast group. So at the Challenge Success fall conferences in California and Massachusetts, we got a chance to interview multiple students, and we created 4 different podcasts, which you can check out on our website. And so I personally developed a podcast episode on mental health, incorporating student stories and just like steps that students and teachers can take. And like Janie was talking about earlier in the intro, we really get to pursue projects that we're truly interested in. And so I chose to create a podcast on mental health because I've had my fair share of mental health issues. And over time, I've learned that like understanding and supporting my peers and mental health is a very collaborative effort, and it requires open dialogue, just listening, and a willingness to adapt like our approaches to education. And I really just want to get that out in the world. So I focused on spotlighting students' voices and then providing suggestions on integrating specific strategies into your personal and academic environments in order to foster just like well-being amidst all of the academic pressures we face in school.
Hi, everyone. So I did a podcast on burnout. And as a student leader in my school's challenge success group, as well as a SAC member, I saw this firsthand, but also going to the fall conferences, as Katie had mentioned, I got a chance to kind of compare what students from all around the East Coast were kind of relating to things that I had seen my friends go through, and I as well. As a senior, senioritis has been kicking in a little bit, so this kind of spoke to me as well. So it was just really nice to kind of hear from different voices, different perspectives, and to kind of see what overlaps they had. So I created the podcast, and I would say definitely go check them out. They are posted on our Challenge Success website under the Resources tab. So there's 3 currently published: Mental Health, Engagement, and Burnout. We have some more on the way, but definitely check them out. And yeah, I hope you enjoy them.
All right, so our next group of Student Advisory Council is the Graphic Design Group. In this group, I'm a part of, but they focus on creating flyers and social media graphics and more to advertise Challenge Success events and resources. And here are 2 examples of the graphic design work that SAC members have created. First, on the left, we have a flyer to advertise our podcast at the fall conference. So like you heard before, at the fall conference, Katie, Janie, and a few other SAC members were able to get students to come in and talk about their experiences with mental health and just school and being a teen overall. And so we created a flyer to advertise that. And on the right, one of our wonderful SAC members, Emma, has been working on a new and upgraded website for Challenge Success that really highlights the resources for students in our projects and more. So that has been a super cool project that we have been working on. And we use a lot of skills like Canva, Photoshop, etc. So if you have any of those skills and are interested in being a part of the Student Advisory Council for next year, I definitely recommend highlighting those on your applications, as we'd love to see what projects you've been working on and what you want to bring to the Student Advisory Council. And I'm going to hand it back off to Katie and Janie to talk about presentation.
All right, so presentations. So we do a variety of different ones. We're doing one on Zoom right now, but we also do ones in person during the Challenge Success conferences, both held in the fall and spring for East and West Coast. We also do outside ones. Bauer, which you can see picture is right next to Kim in the corner there. He did one in Anaheim talking about embracing culture within schools and wellness coming together and just promoting that. I've done a number of presentations. I did one on a student stakeholder session, just kind of working with students one-on-one and seeing all the voices and just advocating for change. I've also done ones with my liaison for my school, and we collaborated and did kind of like a wellness and belonging, and kind of coming up with scenarios that students could relate to and then coming up with solutions, which was awesome. And I'll pass it to Katie to talk about it a little bit more.
Thank you, Janie. So I'm gonna share two presentations that I got to participate in. So, I first got to attend the Bentley University Fall Conference, and my favorite workshop was the Belonging workshop. And you can see on the screen, I was able to work with a bunch of teachers, and an issue that they were having was that they had trouble engaging their students and just finding the balance between like learning and then also giving their students time for like just time for self-care. So it was really exciting because I was able to recommend either things that my school does or things like that I want to see my school implement. And I got to see them take it all in and just like be genuinely really excited about helping their students. And so some ideas I shared with them was like integrating 30-minute guilt-free breaks into the curriculum, such as just like quiet reading or short walks. And just talk to them about like the importance of breaks in their schedule to help kids just reset. And then I know that based on me and my peers' own personal experience, everyone learns very differently. So other students might benefit on like mindfulness practices, like breathing exercises in the regular curriculum that can help with like managing stress and helping with focus. And then coming from my own experiences, I've seen that when my teachers began class with a little like short, lighthearted question of the day or icebreaker, it just immediately lightens the mood and strengthens class bonds. So just to give you some examples, it could be like silly questions like if your pinky finger came off, like what tool would you replace it with? Or like if you could be immortal, what age would you choose to stop aging at and why? Or like the question that we did in the beginning about retirement. So that was the belonging workshop. And then another exciting event I participated in was a webinar that I got to moderate with Dia, who's featured on the right. And at that webinar was Chip Conley, who is a New York Times bestselling author, and then also Denise Pope, who's the Challenge Success co-founder and strategic advisor. And there we talked about the concept of just success. And what was super cool about it was that we talked about how, as people from just different ages and different backgrounds, we each viewed success very differently. And something that stood out to me was like, how can we, as like a school community, reshape the ways in which people of all ages view a successful life? So that was a very inspiring presentation.
So Logan, Jamie, and Katie have done a really awesome job of discussing what the different things we do on what the different things are that we do on SAC. And I'm here to talk about another aspect, which is partnerships. So SAC works with a number of other organizations, including the Children's Health Council Team Collaborative, AIM Youth Mental Health, Bring Change to Mind, My Digital TAT2, Safe Space, and the Tarika Foundation. So our big goal through all of this is to develop one large convening or conference to bring like-minded teenage advocates together to discuss the important topics of today. In addition to this, leveraging social media as a platform to really spread awareness throughout all of the listed organizations, because we really want to share information more widely and connect youth today who are passionate about changing the narrative surrounding mental health. And so we're always interested in looking for other organizations that we can work with and seeing how they can fit into our work and how we can help them best support them. And thank you for listening to Partnerships.
All right, so our applications are now open for the Student Advisory Council for 2024 to 2025. We're really looking for open-minded, collaborative high school and college students who are excited to be part of a team and educate others on mental health issues, and that all of that is seen in schools today. And this is another example of the graphic design group and the work that they do as we created that flyer. And if you're interested, please use the link below, which I think Katie will drop in the chat. Yeah, she did. And afterwards, we will reach out to you to schedule a 20 to 30-minute interview. And this is just an opportunity for us to get to know you better and for you to also get to know us. And our first meet and greet meeting, if you are invited to be a part of the team, will be held sometime in late June.
All right, everyone. So we're going to move to our Q&A section just in a little bit. And before we do, I just want to make sure if you have any questions to use that Q&A button to share some in there. And I will be moderating and passing these questions on to the 4 incredible advisory council members we have here with us today. And if we can't answer your question today, later on, we'll share with you some follow-up contacts. You can continue the conversation afterwards. But before we jump into the Q&A, I just want to celebrate all of the incredible work that the students here have showcased and shared with you all. And as they mentioned, there's still so much more that they have not curated yet on our website. So stay tuned for all the amazing work that's still to come. But it's been less than a year of this journey so far. And there's just been so much beautiful work that you all have produced to improve well-being, belonging, and engagement for students in your local context, but also in our world. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to stop share here so that we all can look at one another's faces. And I'm going to start off with one question. Feel free, anyone can answer, and don't feel obligated if you don't feel like you have the answer to that part. So just want to take one moment to share, what's your favorite part about being on the Student Advisory Council?
That's a great question. I'd say just to start, and then anyone else can jump in too, but my favorite part has definitely been meeting the people. I come from a huge public high school, and I think while there are so many different people from different backgrounds, it's hard to find people that are just as passionate about solving the mental health issues that we all see in headlines today, and really connect with people that have similar opinions on that. And so I think being a part of the Student Advisory Council has really allowed us to meet other students that have the same passions and really are interested in help solving these issues. And I think it's a great opportunity to be able to share our ideas with one another and really collaborate and create these projects that will help so many students.
Yeah, just to echo what Logan said, I love that. And for me, just how we, the different regions that we represent and how we aren't defined by any certain geography, anything like that. It really shows, mental health is a universal challenge, but it's also a universal fight for better and for more awareness. And I think that this sport is a really great example of that, of how anybody from anywhere can get involved and really make a change.
Absolutely. I love that, Bryn. I would say for myself, as a future educator, I will be studying education as my major in college next year. But this has just been a great opportunity for me, and to also hear, from the students' perspective, things that I hope to implement in my classroom one day to advocate for mental health and engagement and all the things we've mentioned here today. These are things that should never go away. They should always be at the forefront of the academic space. And it's just been an incredible opportunity. And everybody here is great too. So.
Yeah, just adding on to what everyone said, my favorite part of SAC are these amazing people on the panel today. Everyone here is just so passionate about just tackling the mental health challenges that every school faces. And I've gotten the opportunity to attend so many different like webinars, conferences, and during the presentation slide, I shared about the fall conference that I attended, and it was super fun. But in the moment, I was really intimidated by all the teachers that like were asking me questions and that I was meeting with in little groups. But it just taught me to just put myself out there and take risks, and it'll be worth it. Like you'll have fun. And like students' voices are just as important. And so I think I've learned all of these valuable lessons through SAC and learning from my peers as well. So I've had a great time so far, and I can't wait.
Thank you all so much. I have another question. If I'm a student joining here and have never had the opportunity to center my voice at school, do you have any advice for me on becoming an advocate?
I think that's a great question. I would say in response to that, there's really not one way to become an advocate. I mean, there's so many different ways to really spread your message. For example, all of the different ways with the blog, podcast, graphic design that SAC is working on. There's always a way to find a channel to express your ideas. So don't necessarily feel pressured to take the most massive stand ever and be very vocal. Instead, you can be very expressive through other forms, art, writing, music, podcasting, are all different ways you can get involved.
Thanks, Bren. Another question. So thinking about, okay, I may have found my voice. I may have found some different avenues where I want to advocate for, but I actually don't know what projects to start to engage in. Do you have any recommendations of like how to identify where I might even start in terms of like, a project or a pathway to then lean into leveraging my voice?
That's a really good question. In the beginning of SAC, when we met for the first time, we were just brainstorming ideas, and I had no idea what projects I was interested in. It was so overwhelming. And everyone had all these ideas, but I just took a step back and I was like, I know I love talking to people. Like, I know I love trying to solve problems and helping people out. And so I was like, through what will best help me do that? And so I decided to join the podcast group and pursue that because that kind of checked off all of my boxes. So just thinking about that and thinking about like your original interests will help you understand like what projects you want to engage in and what you're interested in. And then right away, everything will just come after that. And it's really fun to just like see things like grow from the start and grow from just a little idea you had in the beginning of the year. It's so exciting.
Thanks, Katie. Anyone else have other things they want to add to that?
I think Katie answered that really well. I don't have much to add, but just start with whatever you really think you're interested and passionate about. Not even within the Student Advisory Council, but even outside. Just if you're super interested in performance, lean in that direction. I think everyone has a calling or something that they might not even know that they have. And I think that's a great way to find ways that you can connect with others and be an advocate.
And for me, as an observer of the amazing work that you all have created, it's been really neat to see things that you have started and completed and then decided, hey, I want to jump into another breakout group and engage in another project. I know, Bryn, you're working on some social media things now after like completing your blog, and Logan, all of you have like shared your expertise in a variety of different projects. So you weren't, beholden to just doing one, passion project in the year. And so just really love seeing like you being agents in where you wanted to go and lean into your time. Great. Okay, so I have one last question, and then if there's others, feel free to keep them coming. So for those school leaders, educators joining in today, do you all have any recommendations of how they might bring an effective student advisory council to their own school?
I'm going to start with this one. So I started my journey with Challenge Success as a student leader for my school's stakeholder group. And since then, I started like the end of my freshman into my sophomore year. Since then, we created a total change in our schedule, which allots every other Wednesday, the last 2 hours we give back to the students to kind of allow them to work on individual, group, and if they need some extra help. But one thing that also provided was a chance for us to create an advisory for our school. So we basically sent out like a Google form to the whole student body saying that if you had even if you didn't want to be a part of the advisory council, if you just had a suggestion, it was almost like a suggestion box too, in a way. If any student wanted to just kind of have their voice heard, they could drop it in. And then if somebody wanted to become a leader, they were able to. And now there is, I think it's like a 10-member group. And it kind of rotates. We have some kids come, some not, but they've just had a chance to really hear from all the different grades, freshman through senior, and just to kind of see what's working, what's not. And we're always looking for feedback. That's one thing that my school kind of learned was that, even if we send out like 5 surveys within 1 year, it's never a bad thing. It's always just to, learn from our mistakes and keep growing. So that's my advice.
Thanks, Janie. I love the learning forward. And we're always growing and learning together and leaning into the voice of the community to understand that. Anyone else have other comments or thoughts to that question? All right, y'all. So I'm going to move us forth to our closing for today and I think pass it on to Bryn for that.
We just want to thank everyone so much for taking time out of their day to come and hear about the work that we do. We hope everybody else is as enthusiastic about SAC as we are.
And we are super excited to see your applications, so please don't wait to apply, and we can't wait to hopefully have you join our team for next school year.
And as everyone had said, I'll just reiterate, we are so grateful for you being here and joining us in our free public webinar. We have other webinars coming up. And so we love to stay connected. So feel free to keep in touch through any of these platforms. If you have any further questions, I believe, yes, thanks, Katie, dropped in the chat my email. So feel free to contact me. And if you are applying, I will be the one reaching out to you to schedule that interview. So be on the lookout for my email in your inbox, just in case it lands in your spam or, some other place. So thank you again for your time. We'll stay on a little bit longer. I know we ended a little early, but if you have any other questions, we'll stay on for a little bit.